What up, though, Pistons fans? Welcome back to another episode. So, the Pistons lose the third straight game tonight to the Celtics on the road, and they now sit at 9-15 overall on the season. Asar Thompson was out tonight, missing tonight's game because of rest. I'm not sure what that means in detail, but I'd imagine that the Pistons are just bringing him back slowly, so I'm cool with that. Jason Tatum and Drew Holiday were both out for the Celtics, but it didn't matter tonight. I talk about it all the time. The Pistons continue to get off to slow starts, right? I've talked about it all season long. More times than not, the Pistons are not hitting first when games start. And especially when you're on the road, in order to not get blown off the floor, you have to hit first. You have to try to establish the tone early in the game. And the Pistons did not do that. They were down 12-4 to start this game. Quick timeout by JB Bickerstaff. And right out of a timeout, the league just continued to grow. And I had a feeling it was going to be a long night. But they just continue to get off to these slow starts. They have to work on that. They have to make sure that they're not getting behind early in the game, because you put yourself behind the 8-ball. When you do that, you're playing uphill the rest of the game. And when you're on the road, it's so much harder to do that, especially against a championship team like the Boston Celtics. The Pistons bench, though, once again, gave the Pistons life in this game with their energy and their effort and their shot making. And that's becoming something of a pattern now. It's a good thing, but also a bad thing, in my opinion, because you don't want to have to always rely on your bench to always have to be the pick-me-up for your team. You want the starters to get off to a good start. But the bench has continued to play well just by bringing that extra burst of energy, that extra effort, and inspiring the rest of the team to play the same way. You know, Stu, Fontecchio, Beasley, Holland, Sasser, all those guys, man, they gave the Pistons life on both ends tonight. It was good to see that. But the Boston Celtics, they look like a championship team. They do all the right things. I mean, they move on the string defensively. The rotations are crisp. They play for each other defensively. You can see that. They really hold each other accountable on defense, and they play like a defensive unit. Offensively, man, they get up a ton of threes, and they have shooters everywhere. They look very cohesive offensively, man. They look like a team that is familiar with playing with each other, right? A team that's played together and built chemistry with each other over the years. You know, the Celtics, I say it all the time, and the Celtics, they didn't trade Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown 2 or 3 seasons after they didn't get to the finals right away. You know, they gave them time to develop and to grow and to build together. And you see the benefits from that, to the point where when one of those guys are out, the other is familiar with being able to step in and be the lead guy that night. But all of this comes from years and years of growth and building together. And I think that's what the Pistons should continue to do with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, allowing them to grow as their 1-2 punch, their backcourt together. Just something to think about for our young Pistons team. And to their credit, I know they got off to a slow start once again, but they really could have packed it in early tonight, and this could have been an ugly 20 or 30 point loss, but it wasn't. They didn't pack it in at halftime. They were down double digits, but they came out and kept fighting. There were a few plays to start the third quarter that really hurt them, just allowing Kristaps Porzingis to walk into a 3 first possession out of halftime. You know, things like that really hurt the Pistons. They weren't locked in on both ends for 48 minutes. They had pockets in time when they would lock in and be able to cut into the lead, but it just wasn't consistent. And with Boston, it was. Boston is a very mature team, and they have continuity and consistency with their team. But like I mentioned, man, the Pistons kept fighting. They actually went on a 17-3 run midway through the fourth quarter to get the lead down to 6. They just didn't have enough late to finish the game. Too many offensive rebounds, too many turnovers, and just a lack of execution late is what cost them the game. So even though the Pistons lost tonight, those are some of the positives, but they just have to continue to work on those slow starts. They have to work on that. After that first quarter, they actually played the Celtics even the rest of the way. That's encouraging and discouraging at the same time, because it's encouraging in the fact that it shows that you can at least compete with these teams, right? You can compete with the top teams in the NBA. But it's also discouraging because you're not showing consistency. You're showing that, yeah, you can come back, but are you initiating? Are you being proactive or are you being reactive? And tonight they were reactive once again. And so they have to work on being proactive and being able to hit first and being able to jump on teams early. I know it's difficult with the NBA champs, right? But still, just the way you approach the game to start the game is what needs to improve. Let's get to the box. Cade played his tail off tonight, man. He had 27 points, 14 assists, 1 block, 6 turnovers, 11 for 21 from the field, 3-9 from 3, 2-2 from the free throw line in 34 minutes. So Cade played one of his better games of the season, man. I mean, 27-14 is ridiculous. 6 turnovers is kind of high, but it's still better than a 2-to-1 ratio. So I'm cool with that. And you could just see he was gassed. He was gassed all night. But whenever he was in the game, you could see JB Bickerstaff pulling him and putting it back in, pulling him and putting it back in, trying to conserve his energy, right? But Cade played really, really hard, man. He really showed some fight. He put Derek White on another poster. This is the second time he's done this to Derek White. So I don't know what it is about Derek White, but whenever they play Boston, it's almost like Cade is seeking him out, trying to dunk on him. And he gave him a nice stare and bark after too. So I don't know if there's any history there, but it was good to see that fire from Cade, that fearlessness from Cade, and just that leadership from Cade. He really showed it all tonight. And defensively too, I know he had the 27-14, but defensively too, he's really strapped up and played hard defensively. Team defense and individual defense. The effort is there. And you can see that he's gassed, right? But that's what you appreciate from your leader, right? Just setting that tone with the first unit. And he did that. Jaden Ivey had 11 points, 2 boards, 2 assists, 1 block, 3 turnovers on 3 of 6 shooting, 1 of 3 from the field, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. So once again, another quiet night again from Jaden. Only 6 shots. You know, it looked like Cade had it going for most of the night, and that's why he took 21. I want to see Jaden get a little bit more aggressive offensively. I know they were trying to take his driving lanes away. I want to see him a little bit less in the one-on-one and more so just moving without the basketball. I want to see some schemes for him to get open with moving without the ball. I think tonight he was looking too much to try to go one-on-one, and because Boston plays such positional defense with their bigs, along with guys like Derek White cutting off driving lanes, it just made it really tough for him individually. And that's why I think you only see the 6 shots, because there was just nothing really there for him to get to. Tobias Harris, man. Tobias Harris had a great offensive game tonight. Maybe his best of the season. He had 27 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, no turnovers, 9 of 17 from the field, 6 of 9 from 3, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. I would say this was easily Tobias Harris's best offensive game of the season. The volume was there, but the efficiency was also there. 6 for 9 from 3. He didn't miss any free throws. So yeah, this was a very good game from Tobias. He was just knocking down shots. He seemed like he was really in the rhythm tonight offensively. The confidence was there, and he was just catching and firing. And he was also getting some things done in the paint too. So good game from Tobias offensively, man. And defensively, he played hard as usual. I'm going to come back to that point as far as the Pistons size, but offensively, Tobias Harris, along with Cade and Malik Beasley, carried the offense for the Pistons tonight. Jalen Duren had 5 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers, on 1 of 5 shooting, 3 of 6 on the free throw line. So Jalen Duren struggled, man. Jalen Duren has shown to be inconsistent this season. Sometimes he seems very locked in. It seems like he gets up for certain games, certain matchups. And then other times he just seems distracted. I don't know if he's out of shape. Sometimes it just seems like he's there and locked in, and the energy is just there defensively, and he's rebounding the basketball, 1 shot. And other times he's out of position, allowing offensive rebounds, just making mental mistakes that really hurts the team. And honestly, I don't want to see any more Pistons bigs dribbling the ball up court with regularity, right? It's resulting in way too many turnovers. JD had one tonight, dribbling the ball up court in the backcourt, and it just turns it over. I understand on one hand trying to conserve energy for Jaden and Cade here and there so they don't have to have the ball in their hands all the time. But if it's resulting in turnovers like the way it is, just get the ball in their hands and let them do what they do. Tim Hardaway Jr. had a very quiet night. He had 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 turnover. 1 or 2 from the field. So he was getting a lot of cardio tonight. He wasn't really giving us much. He was trying defensively, but wasn't really much of an impact defensively. And offensively, he didn't give us anything. So tough night from Tim Hardaway Jr. But thankfully, we had guys like Malik Beasley off our bench giving us 23 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 8 for 16 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3, 1 of 1 from the free throw line. Malik Beasley, man, he, Cade, and Tobias Harris were the offense tonight. They were the offense tonight. Beasley's become an instant offense for this team, man. I mean, he's a pure shooter, and he's more of a scorer than I naturally thought. And I said it before, I believe Beasley is going to represent the Pistons in the 3-point shootout this season. He's getting enough shots up, right? The volume is there, and the percentage is there, right? He's shooting very, very well. 6 of 11 again tonight. So if he keeps this up, I think he's going to be penciled in for that 3-point shootout. And if he keeps his scoring up like this off the bench, he has a shot to win 6th Man of the Year. So he's been one of the bright spots for the Pistons all season long, and I just hope he keeps it up. Marcus Sasser had 12 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 turnover, 5 of 7 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3-point line. I do think the Pistons need to try to find him some more minutes because he is giving the Pistons offense whenever he comes to the game. Pretty much every time he's coming to the game off the bench this season, he's giving the Pistons some offensive firepower, some offensive punch. And he really hasn't hurt us defensively. So I think the Pistons should try to find more minutes for him because he's been pretty consistent so far. Ron Holland gave us 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 assist, a block, 2 turnovers, 2 of 4 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. So Holland gave us some good energy. He was part of that bench brigade once again with Fontecchio and Beasley and Sasser and Stu that just gave the Pistons life. and he knocked down 2 out of 3 threes. So I think his confidence is slowly starting to grow, right? And that's all we really want to see is just incremental growth over the season. We don't want to see a ton of attempts from three-point land, right? Just 2 or 3 a game, just to continue to build on that confidence and that consistency. And he's going to get better and better. Okay, last point. So earlier I mentioned how Tobias had a great game offensively, right? But I got to say this. The Pistons are too small with Tobias at the 4. The Pistons need another big man. In 48 hours, the Pistons have gone from playing Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo to Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, and Luke Cornett. I know Tobias played well offensively. I know I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But if the Pistons want to start seriously contending in the East with these teams, in the Cavs, they got to get bigger up front. They got to get bigger up front. I don't think Tobias is big enough or athletic enough to play the 4 long term. If he was undersized but super athletic like a Sar, or if he wasn't super athletic but was big and strong enough like Stu, right? Then maybe it could work. But being undersized and not being an above average athlete, it hurts the Pistons most nights defensively. And that's why you saw so many offensive rebounds and easy putbacks tonight. That's why you saw guys like Luke Cornett being able to get offensive rebounds and putbacks because the Pistons were undersized. Right? You got Kristaps Porzingis playing the 4. He's 7'3". And Tobias Harris competes defensively, right? But he's 6'8". He's 6'8", and he's not a great athlete. So I think at some point, if the Pistons want to contend going forward, they have to address that. But what did you see in tonight's game that I missed? Let me know down below in the comments, and let's talk about it. Appreciate you hanging with your boy. And as always, Detroit versus everybody. Peace.
Big talking pundits, I hear good shit. Talking that chop, you must want this, baby. Tryna tell ya, get the dog pump, mess around,